of higher consciousness. Join Todd and his guests weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and learn how to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. Enjoy a survey of inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. It's all right here. Leading authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs with stories and messages to support your well-being, let alone your most evocative dreams.
Hey, it's another groovy day, and most of you know that's because when I got up this morning, I decided to make it that way. When I woke up, I said it's going to be a groovy day, and as I go through my day, things might change, something might happen, but I just think back and say, yeah, I started this day groovy, it's going to be a groovy day. I have that choice. Welcome to Life Mastery Radio, the talk show that brings you great thoughts and ideas for you to use on your very own life mastery journey. We have an amazing guest for you today, but before we get started, let's just take a minute, get ourselves centered and situated. And what I want you to think about is think about where you get your power from. It could be God, it could be Allah, the dude, the tree, the door that leads you into your private space. Just think about that for a minute. Let's take in a deep breath. All the way down deep, and then let that breath out with a big ah, and just let your essence flow up through your heart center, through your throat chakra, and out of your speaker box, out into the universe. And think about that connection you have with that which gives you power. Let's do that one more time, but this time I want you to think about your dreams, visions, and goals, because we're going to be talking about how you can make those come true today and many other things. So think about those. What is it that you want to do, be, have, call into your reality? Think about that, anchor it, take in a deep breath, and let that breath out with a big ah, and just let that flow, your essence flow, your dreams, vision, and goals out into the universe. And here's the deal now. Think about the possibility, not even the possibility, the reality of the universe wanting to make those come true for you, because they're coming your way. There you go. Hi, Jackie. How are you today?
Good. I was having a little technical issue sharing our show today. Anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Let me see. So you take over from here for a second. Let me see if I can.
Technology is not my friend.
Well, it's just me and you, so we don't have any assistants yet.
I know. What is with that too? Why don't we have a whole bunch of assistants running around doing all this stuff for us?
We're gonna have to work on that. We're gonna manifest that. We're gonna create that abundance. We're gonna talk to our guests today and talk about that. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about what's going on in the Speak Feed Lead org project.
Hey, the Speak Feed Lead project. We are a nonprofit that provides empowered speaking skills to children, teens, young adults, and adults. And of course, we've got some summer classes out there for enrollment right now, doing some online workshops. We did this last year when we had to pivot quickly to an online format when the pandemic first hit us all. And so we're offering that again because we had such a successful summer last year. So that is out and open for enrollment if you would like for your child or teenager to have some meaningful work to do through the summer and a couple days a week. Go to speakfeedlead.org and check out what we're doing. Also up on that site is the wonderful summit that we put on last summer. Todd was one of the presenters at our Speak Up Summit, and we ended up with more than 50 speakers. And now there are 60 videos out there because some speakers did 2 sessions. And there are now 60 videos out there of each of those presenters that you can take a look at, peruse in categories.
Some great topics. There were some really cool topics.
Individuals. Yeah, it's great things. So check that out when you go to our site as well.
I covered you, Jackie. I tagged you in the video, so
Thanks.
you should.
Nice.
What else do we have? Today's show page is at www.lifemasteryradio.net or .com, whichever one you can prefer. You can go there. Any links that we talk about on the show today will be right there. We have a link to our guests books, and all things magical. After the show, Jackie will create a blog post about the show that you can check out, and you won't believe the insights that she picks up out of our discussion. It's just amazing. So if you want to refresh yourself a little bit, it will also get loaded up into YouTube. All of our shows are on YouTube. There must be about 300 of, well, a couple hundred anyway. There's a lot of them, and there's some really cool topics. And we have a really cool topic for you today. Anything else?
We should be known as like magical course creator, content creators, because you and I,
we do it every week.
Awesome stuff out there. I know. We should be at the top of all of those, whatever they are. those leaderboards when it comes to good content out there, because
I think our guest would say, okay, you two just start vibrating at that frequency and it will happen. She would say that, I'm telling you, and maybe she will tell us that.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, both of our books are at the website. The link's right to Amazon. There is, of course, my wonderful book,
Yay.
6 Keys to Life Mastery, and Jackie's book, Self-Centered Leadership. So
Right.
she wrote that book. I had to write a book. Now we both have a book, and you're going to read the book and love it, and then leave us some feedback on Amazon. Simple as that. It's really cool.
Right. Cool.
Okay. I think we are done with housekeeping, sweeping. You're tagged on the video. I think Millen found it. I think we are ready to go. You got the intro.
Yes, I get to introduce Millen. Her name is Millen Livis, and she is a financial independence mentor. She's a best-selling author of more than one book. She's an investor and an entrepreneur. She's amazing talent. And she graduated of the acclaimed Wharton Business School. She's a holder of a master's degree in physics. She's also a certified NLP practitioner, that nurse licensed practitioner, a certified, maybe it's, so tell me if I messed up.
Neuro-linguistic programming, but it's okay.
Oh, neuro-linguistic program. All right, gotcha. And a certified instant miracle energy healer. Who doesn't want an instant miracle? Millen combines her traditional and holistic education to help professional and entrepreneurial women become financially independent and retire early so they can enjoy more choices and more freedom without having to worry about money. Okay, this is the miracle, right? She does this by using the Millionaire Method, her time-tested holistic system for creating financial independence. Millen is financially independent for over 10 years. She's happily remarried and lives in resort-like locations in the south of France and our own South Florida. With that, we've got a lot to learn from our guest today, and she is going to fill us with wonderful stuff because she's got 2 books out there that is a shift toward purpose and a shift toward abundance, and we're going to help you make that shift today with Millen here. So please welcome our guest, Millen Livis. Woo-hoo!
Thank you so much for having me, Todd and Jackie. Thank you. It's an opportunity to connect with you again, because I know we had you on my show, an opportunity to connect to your amazing audience, and just honestly, just to have fun chatting about things that we're interested in, right?
Absolutely.
You know, I have to know, Millen. So you have a degree in physics, right?
Yeah.
And I just met, I didn't really meet her, but I just found another woman. I don't know if you know Teresa Bullard. No, maybe not. She has a degree in physics as well, and astrophysics, just an amazing woman. How does a person studied in physics make that transition or create that space to become somebody that's more metaphysical, more on the other side of the world?
First of all, I didn't make the space. I guess um, this experience found me. And just to begin with, in terms of me choosing to study physics, I can explain why 6 years old girl would always want to study physics. Since, I mean, it's like there is no logical explanation, except for what I remember. I always wanted to understand how the world works. I was, always had very curious mind, and like I just couldn't understand. I was not bothered by small things in life. I wanted to, like, really at 6 years old, I wanted to solve the biggest question of all, how the world works. And I didn't find the answer when I studied physics. It was more rigorous study to do kind of like scientific research and things like that. But the answers, ironically, came later when I dive into metaphysics. And I think that this experience of scientific training really helped me to see metaphysics in a different light. So it's not a woo to me, it's just a different angle of seeing things, and probably has questions that traditional Newtonian approach to the world doesn't have answers for.
Well, the two meld together. It's just, it blows me away, right? I mean, so your background, you studied physics and then you came to an understanding of metaphysics, but it probably allowed you to understand the inner workings of everything even better, because you understand energy and fields and how that all propagates and how that is part of us and part of everything. And yeah, I could just, it's more amazing to me that more people don't, although in today's world, I catch wind of it all the time. More and more people are putting the two together.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people use terms quantum physics and all these terms, and it becomes more and more mainstream to use these terms, etc. But it's interesting for me because metaphysics, when I started studying the science of consciousness with my mentors, I felt like it just landed on a very well fertilized ground, so to speak, right? So it just felt so right. And and that's why science of consciousness became my latest passion, so to speak.
Well, now, were you the oddball out? I mean, because most people, I think as Todd has made reference to, they don't necessarily see the connection between, the logical and the spiritual to some degree, or the scientific and the spiritual. So did you feel like you were stepping out outside of the circle a little bit to do that? And how was that accepted by colleagues?
You know what? I did not study metaphysics because my degree in physics was earned back in my country of origin, I should say. So at that time, I was absolutely not aware of the other side of, I would say, the truth or the essence, because everything else is perception, basically, right? Everything that we think, everything that we think is true for us or for someone else, it's all a matter of perception. And so when I studied physics, I was just a good student. I just studied, what I was given as something that I needed to learn. And yes, nuclear physics was part of it. But my exposure to metaphysics came much later and kind of out of the blue, and kind of when I was what I call experiencing the darkest night of my soul. Because I was not raised as a religious person. I was not raised as a spiritual person. So when I was experiencing very, very deeply challenging personal experiences, and I was very alone, I didn't have my family members because they didn't like some of my decisions, so we kind of stopped communicating. because my friends, who I thought were my friends, kind of took my ex's side after the divorce. So in many, and because I was so ashamed of my situation in life, I didn't want to literally talk to anyone. I was avoiding people. I was avoiding talking to my classmates, etc. And that was the moment, because I didn't have anyone else, that intuitively I started praying and meditating to something that is bigger than me.
Yeah.
So as you
Yes.
can see, it was not something that I consciously pursued up until this moment. It just happened, as I'm sure many people experience as well, because it just, this high intelligence, or I call it intelligent love or loving intelligence. It just gives you the experience that you needed to have. And I guess I was so stubborn and so kind of narrow-minded before, that I had to have this very painful experience in order to open up my heart and my soul and start listening.
As it is for the best of people. You know, Millen, you probably heard story after story. I know I have. Your story is my story. I was on my knees. I had nowhere else to go except a power greater than myself. And after I did that, it just turned magical. That's the only way I have to describe it. And it's unfortunate that that's the way it has to be, or that's the way that people get there, but that's the way that most people end up there, right? They end up
Not
on their knees.
everybody, not everybody, but
That's true.
most people, yeah.
But why do you think that is? Is it the ego? Is it stubbornness, like you said? And is it an unwillingness to be open-minded?
It's hard to pinpoint specifically why. So I will just talk for myself. I think that ego is a big part of it, because the way I was raised, the way I was programmed was just be a good student, go to the best college, get the best job, prestigious, well paid, get husband, house, children, blah 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 blah. So that was my model of success.
Right.
And in order to see the bigger picture of what we're here for, it had to be something earth-shaking. It had to be something so big for me to experience, to see, to shift my perception of what is important, to shift my model of the world. And let me tell you, it did shift big time after this experience.
It's like a cage rattling, right? You're in and it's just like, okay, here, I've been throwing rocks at you.
Yeah, it's, I'm talking about this like with a smile on my face now, but trust me, at that time, I was like, I'm such a failure. Like, what's the point? I'm just, failure. I felt guilty. I felt ashamed. I felt that I had all this potential that I didn't realize. What's the point to continue living? That was my thinking. And so I hope that most people don't have to go through this very, very painful experience in order to open the eyes.
Us sharing our experiences, Millen, that I think helps plant the seeds and lets people know that they do not have to reach bottom. They do not have to be on their knees begging for mercy and answers and solutions. It's as easy as stepping into it with an open mind.
And you know what's interesting? Sometimes I talk to people who were diagnosed with cancer, and that's another challenging experience. Like, this experience of being diagnosed with cancer really changed their model of the world as well, changed how they see success, changed how they appreciate what they have right now in this moment, because most people tend to live in the future.
Yeah.
And or in the past, actually, right? So we recreate our experiences because we literally connected to our past and only create what we know, what is familiar. And we don't like to embrace something that is unknown and unfamiliar. And yet that's exactly how things get created in the quantum field, so to speak.
That's true.
Nothing
so
that
that's-
can be predictable can be created in a quantum. If you have something that you expected to have, it's not from the quantum field, that's for sure.
So now your life is very different from where it was at that time. And it wasn't probably an overnight success. So what has happened to you since that traumatic time frame when you had this shift to now? What advice would you give our listeners as they're perhaps in that same situation you were in all those years ago? There's many people because of the pandemic in that situation. So if you find your way out, then what did you do to regain your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-love, financial success? How did all those things take place after that?
It's a great question, Jackie, and I have to answer with first saying that the shifts in my external life started happening when I changed inside. I really changed inside, big time. And it would be easy for me to say that, oh, I just became more grateful, because I was grateful before. That was one of my, I think, my superpowers, that I always was very grateful. And that's why I actually accomplished a lot in my life prior to going through this, what I call divine crisis, right? So you cannot imagine, or maybe you can, being someone who was on top of the world, living her American dream, coming from, nothing, because I was a first generation immigrant. We came with no money, I didn't speak English, etc. And then having this amazing life, tennis parties, beautiful house in the suburbs, prestigious job on Wall Street, great salary. Like, it was American dream. And then feeling that something is not working for me, feeling that I'm dying inside, walking away from all of that, hoping, assuming that because I'm so brave, because I'm so honest, my parachute will open right away, and not experiencing this. And actually coming to my knees, like that described, to shift my perceptions about my values, about the model of the world as I see it, about people I want to be with, I want to connect to, follow, etc. So my world changed. I used to have idols, like, the movie stars, or you name it, right? Gurus. And I realized that it's all relative. It's all about how I emit, what I emit, what I give, we receive. And I'm big believer that life is like a boomerang. So when you give the good thoughts, the good feelings, when you live in integrity with your values, with your words, somehow things start shifting.
Yeah.
And when I was going through my challenging time, I stopped being functional. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. It was horrible. So when I started feeling better about where I am, about my life, it's almost like I started seeing things more clearly. And when I started seeing things more clearly, I started making better decisions. It's just as simple as that. And not only better decisions, but because at that time I was able to become very clear what is important to me, what is my core value. And once I determined my core value, which at that time was a revelation for me because it was freedom. That's all I wanted. I didn't care much about fancy clothes, fancy houses. I just wanted to be free so I could enjoy life on my terms and not feel obligated or guilty or whatever, right? Or owning something to someone. So once I determined what my core value was, I started adjusting my choices. So my choices became aligned with my vision for myself. And that changed a lot. That changed a lot. And yes, my success didn't happen over time. And I take word success with a grain of salt because obviously, you know, my definition of success is changing all the time. As I grow, as I expand, my definition of success is changing as well. But what I want to say is that in order for me to experience my vision, which was enjoying more choices, enjoying freedom, being working because I want to, not because I have to. I still work, but it's very different when you work because you want to, not because you have to. So once I realized that that's what I wanted, then, like I said, my choices shifted. I started making choices that were aligned with this. I also at that time realized that the fact that I am strong, smart, whatever, doesn't mean that I don't need support. Because I was in a situation before I never considered asking for help. Because I was a strong woman. I was smart. I was experienced. You know, in my mind, it was, you know, you only weak people ask for help. And I guess life taught me a lesson, very, very powerful lesson, that it's nothing to do with your smarts, with your goals, with your abilities. Sometimes human beings just need support, And that was a lesson that I learned because I was literally saved by a coach who contacted me at the right time.
Wow.
Well, Millen, when you're coaching people, isn't it a great place to start in realizing what those core values are and why they are important to you?
It's a very important place to start because when you don't know what you're aiming for, you will hit every time, right? I don't remember, someone said this, I don't remember who, and I'm paraphrasing, so it's not exact quote, but basically that's how most people live, right? We don't really think specifically what is important for me, what do I want to experience in life. And this clarity about what you want to experience in life is super important, because once you have this, we have ability, and I don't want to go deep into metaphysics, but we have ability to create these experiences, right? And okay, if you want me to go to metaphysics, I will.
We can just say that, you know, we are what we think about, and when we have a basic core value and we hold those close to our heart, then the decisions, like you said, and the choices that we make are true to us, and we understand why it is that we did that, instead of just walking around like a robot reacting to things. And yeah, so I think that we get that. That's well, some people might not get it.
Well, how does that affect our relationship with money, though? Because Millen, a lot of what you talk about in your books and stuff is related to financial freedom that you was part of what you wanted. So how does this, how does knowing our core value, and how does even maybe knowing how to act on that core value, how does that make a difference in the financial success we experience or not?
Okay, there are several angles here that I would like to mention. So first of all, most people feel that money is, and again, that's from conditioning, from programming for years and years and years of programming and conditioning, is that money is something that needs to be chased. Money is something that is hard to get. And for many people, money is something that is not meant for them. It's something that is outside of them, right? It's not part of their world. And it's ironic how many people feel that way. I used to be that person as well. So for me, it was, like I said, my choices were not only in terms of practical, like investment decisions, but also what I was focused on, how I would train myself, retrain myself, how I would think about money. And I chose to see money as a friend who has my back.
Mm.
And you don't need to chase a friend, right? If you are the person who respects your friend, if you are the person who can share, things that are important, can support your friend, etc. So I literally started developing a relationship with money as my friend. And it was never like, it's not possible for me to have. I had to shift this. And when I started saying that, yes, money is not something that I want to chase, because if I need to chase my friend, then what kind of friend is that?
Right.
Nice.
Okay. So this, again, this is a shift in perception.
Yeah.
Right? And everything is a perception. Everything, like the way we experience life is based on how we perceive certain experiences, good or bad. Like Tony Robbins said, that life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. And for me, it took a very long time to not just understand this logically, but actually live, embody this. Like when I was hit by the car 2 years ago, when I was a pedestrian walking on pedestrian pathway, it wasn't easy to swallow the fact that it happened not to me, it happened for me. And I'm looking, in every experience I have right now, I'm looking for lessons and gifts. So, and I believe now that every experience has lessons and gifts.
Yeah,
And
totally.
it's not always easy to accept when you're diagnosed with terminal disease, or when your partner dies, or you lose your child. It's not easy it's easy to say it, but it's not easy to live it.
Right.
But once that's what life mastery is about, in my opinion, right?
You got that, sister. So let's drill down on that concept of money just a little bit more, because a lot of people have this wrong mindset about money and their success. And how do you coach people into a different mindset and get them to realize that money is their friend and it's not something that they should chase after? I want to hear more about this.
Well, I don't believe that you can use your willpower to change anything, right? So it has to be important to you to change. And that's how, like, I couldn't change myself with my willpower, even though I'm a fairly strong-willed person. But it had to be important for me enough to change, because it was not working for me. It was not working for me. So being honest with yourself is the number one step, because a lot of people, they don't want to look at the dark corners in a house, right? So And that could last very long time, especially, for example, for women, if they have a partner who supports them, who takes care of the money. They think that, like, I'm okay. I don't need to look at this relationship with money in the meantime, because it seems like I'm doing okay. But it's better to choose to change it instead of your life putting you in a situation when you have to change, right?
Right.
Again, I speak from the experience, right? So very important, number one, is to be honest with yourself. And then you cannot, as you know, what we resist persists. You cannot just resist thinking, I will never be a certain way, I will never be wealthy, whatever. You cannot just resist it. You've got to replace it with something else. Just imagine that constantly in your mind, you have money is hard to get. Like, imagine that there is a board, right? And it's written, money is hard to get. That's how your subconscious mind was programmed. So you cannot just say, I don't want to think that way. It doesn't work for me. Like, affirmations, not enough. They're good because they help you to focus on something. But if you say affirmation, but deep inside you don't feel it, it will not work.
Yeah, it's just words.
Yeah, it's just words. And words have frequency.
Power.
And that's why it's important which words we use. And when someone says, I recently talked to some woman who was like artist and stuff like that. And she literally said, I was committed to being poor because all artists are like that. And I was listening to this. It was like, no wonder why she is experiencing, like, the person literally committed to being poor in order to be a good artist. It's an agreement.
It's an agreement. They agreed to that even without really agreeing to agree to it. They just agreed to it. That's just the way it is. And
right.
That's
so in order to, I mean, it's a process. Obviously, when you live 40, 50, 60 years with a particular programming, it's not going to happen overnight that you change it. But there are some processes that I use. One of this is meditation, because meditation is something that allows us to stay in stillness. I like guided meditation. I like meditations that have particular purpose. So meditations is part of my practice. And I spoke yesterday with one lady who wants to diversify her investments, wants to learn how to invest in the stock market. And she said, I said, meditation, she asked about my services. I said, meditation is part of working with me. And she said, oh, I never I hear people talk about this, and, it's, I never believe in this. And, and I was like, well, that's one of the requirements of working with me, because I know that it works.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do something that is superficial just because person doesn't feel like it will work.
And
yeah.
I was just going to say, you have some great guided meditations that people can get off your website. That's correct, right?
Actually, I don't think I used to, but I changed my website, so I'm not sure that I have them on my website, but I can recommend people some great resources if you want to.
Yeah, we'll put those on the website, or maybe on the link. Name a couple good sources.
Okay, so I will start with the book, if that's okay, because this book comes with meditations. It's not my book.
I have a good one too, one that changed my world.
All right.
It's called Getting in the Gap by Wayne Dyer. Okay.
So I'm a big fan of Wayne Dyer, but right now I just want to tell you that I'm following particular mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of these mentors is Dr. Joe Dispenza, and on his website, drjoedispenza.com, you can find a variety of meditations. And he's one of my mentors, and I follow his style of meditation.
Say that again, Dr.
Dr. I think it's DR. That stands for doctor. Joe, J-O-E, Dispenza,
Oh yeah,
D-I-S.
Dispenza, Joe Dispenza.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
Joe. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So I attend his events. I follow his meditation style. Like I said, he's one of my mentors.
Yeah,
I have
very cool.
others.
Oh.
Well,
So what I'm hearing you
that's-
say, Millen, is that it's not just enough to know mathematics. It's not just enough to know financial planning. It's not enough to know tax law or any of that stuff. To truly handle money, to truly have success with money, and to feel connected to money as a friend, it requires the metaphysical side. It requires the spiritual side. It requires understanding that there's a force, there's a source bigger than you, and turning to that source for that extra help, guidance, and so forth. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Jackie, I just want to say this. We are not linear beings. We are very, very multidimensional beings. Saying that you just need to you develop mindset, or saying you just need to learn how to invest, that's a very linear approach to someone or us who are very multidimensional. That's why, like you mentioned, my millionaire method, I call it holistic system for becoming financially independent, because I deeply believe that it needs to be a combination of practical money skills, how to manage money, how to know your cash flow. And it's not so much about mathematics at all. So some women say, I'm afraid of numbers. And you know what? It's hard to improve your numbers if you're afraid of them, right?
Right.
So, and that's why the first step is to be honest with where you are right now. And but it's also so knowing how to manage money intentionally, being a savvy money manager of your money, knowing how to grow your money, how to invest your money, so you will not put, like, I'm talking from experience, because recently I talked to people, they invested all their money in cryptocurrencies. And it's good that now cryptos go up, but you know what? It was time when cryptos just dropped, and they almost had heart attack.
Yeah.
I also know some people who invest in some stocks that they believe in, and they attached to these stocks. This is very dangerous. So I'm talking about strategic investing, which is practical money skills. But I also deeply believe, and I think I shared enough with you today to understand why I deeply believe in this, that we're creating our success, our experiences from the inside out, that we emit particular frequency that, we attract specific experiences. And as you know, likes attract likes. So
oh my goodness, ladies, we're coming down to the wire. And I have a question from a listener that I would like to read, but I want to give you the opportunity, Millen, to tell us about your website and what they can find there.
Okay, thank you. I really didn't realize we were coming down to the wire, so I'm sorry.
No worries.
So today I basically want to give you, frankly, amazing opportunity to contact me. It's a complimentary consultation, how to never worry about money again, where we will discuss your money leaks, your leaky money, your money leaks, and see what you don't want to look at honestly, because that's the first step, and how we could map your specific pathway to financial independence. Because financial independence, it's not about having millions and millions of dollars. It's very unique for every person. And that's why you can book this appointment with me at speakwithmillen.com. It's speak with, and then Millen with double L, MILLEN.com. And let's talk and let's see what we could co-create. So I really hope that your
we'll put that link
listeners
on the website, and Jackie will have it in her blog post. So keep an eye on it. If you go to our website at www.lifemasteryradio.net or .com and sign up for the newsletter, then you don't have to worry about looking for the links, because you'll get them in your email. Okay, Millen, we have a question from a listener, and it's might be a big question, but you can answer it quickly if you can, and then I for sure want to have you come back because we have so much more to talk about. But here we go. What is your advice for the entrepreneur who has very inconsistent income? So many coaches say that it is essential to achieve consistent revenue. Earning money and knowing that business will work out over the long run feels like a magic trick. It's kind of a magic trick, isn't it, Millen?
It's a very good question, and it's a
Very deep one.
Yeah. So what I can say is that the key to freedom, specifically financial independence, is to have multiple sources of income. But you cannot focus on multiple sources of income until you figure out how to make one source work consistently. So because we cannot spread our attention, because then we don't give attention, don't give energy, because where we place attention, that's where we direct our energy. We cannot spread it thin over multiple projects. And that's why it's very important to make one source of income, in this case, your business, work. And find a way. If you trying to do that for years and years and you still don't make progress, I invite you to ask for help. Maybe find a business coach who you connect, who accomplished what you want to accomplish. Because sometimes we kind of, achieve plateau and we're still trying to get out of this not working business or not working marriage or whatever not working at the moment. And sometimes it takes someone from outside of the frame. If you're part of the picture, it takes someone outside of the frame to notice what exactly keeps you stuck there. Yeah. So if I could give you one advice, is to consider who do you think you could ask for help to get you to the next stage of your business where you have consistent revenue, where you have consistent profits.
Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Okay, ladies, we're down to 3 minutes. Millen, did you have a blast today?
I did.
Did I tell you you would?
You did.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I think, Jackie, we got to have her back because there's this hour just went by so fast. It's just crazy. So much to talk about. You are a wealth of information, and thank you so much for showing up as you today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jackie, any takeaways?
Well, yeah, Millen is great. I've actually had one of those consultations with her that she's offering to our listeners today.
And what do you think?
I highly recommend it.
Okay.
She's so
there
generous
you go, right
with her
from
time,
Jackie's mouth.
so generous with her knowledge. And so you will not find your time at all wasted, completely worth it. And I look forward to working further with Millen as we move forward, because she's going to help me shift my mindset. She's going to take me to a different place here.
Here, let's rattle your cage.
That. That's right. One of the things, though, I will mention that I read in her book, which is A Shift Toward Purpose. She talks a little bit about how you can start to make that shift happen in just adjusting some of the language that you use. For instance, if you want to go from being indecisive and wondering, what do I do next, to being confident in any decision that you make, she says, change your language from I need to ... to I will ... She's got really simple tools right there that you can put into action right away. Another one was, instead of saying, well, it's hard to ... to think I can do it. And so those little things have really helped me a lot. And I know that if you were to get either one of her book or both of her books, it would really start to help you make that shift for yourself. Absolutely.
Or check out the website. It seems like the magic man behind the curtain gave us a couple of extra minutes. So Millen, do you have one last parting shot for our listeners, and tell us about your website?
Well, my website is daretochange.life.com. I chose this name because I feel that that's what I've done with my life, and that's what everybody else can as well. And I just want the parting words would be, I deeply believe, deeply, that's my deep belief, that everybody has capacity to be financially independent. It doesn't mean that everybody will. It doesn't mean that everybody has to. Just like, not everybody has to be a parent. Not everybody will be a parent, but everybody has this capacity. So just have this vision in mind. Be clear about what is it that you want to experience in your life. So you will not shoot for something that you don't want to experience unconsciously. And I just want to tell you, I love the tagline on this screen, the fourth quarter, consciousness in action. I just love this. I think that's exactly how I would describe what this conversation was about. It was consciousness in action. So thank you so much, guys. I really love this opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
Nice.
That's about all we have time for today. Check out our website, sign up for the newsletter, and for sure, go and check out Millen's website. The link is on www.lifemasteryradio.net. The links to Jackie and I's books are right there. And of course, did I say something about the newsletter? Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. We have a YouTube channel, and we will have another awesome show for you and your life mastery journey next week. Lastly, please do me a favor. Please make it a great day, because like everything, it's all about choice. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.